Hey folks, welcome to this week's Rodeo Roundup Live. There's a lot of things happening within the rodeo industry, and I would tell you what, my friends, things are rocking and rolling. First of all, in the PRCA, we have got Jacobs Crawley that is on a tear right now. This kid is going absolutely nuts. San Angelo was just earlier this week. He was 88 points on Powder River's Rich and Fancy, and leading the event with 3 days remaining, which that event will conclude on the 19th. But right now he's sitting in #1 spot, and not only #1 spot in San Angelo after the first round, but he is in the #1 spot in the PRCA World Standings, and he's leading by $5,900. And talking about the World Standings, let's get into that a little bit, because I'll tell you what's happened is the PRCA has really redone the world standings now that the whole ERA judgment has been down, and it's really opened up the doors for some people that you may not know or have heard of, and some people that you have. So let's run through at least who's sitting in the world #1 spots right now after we take all of the ERA contestants out of it. In your bareback riding, it is the Iowa Cowboy, Tim O'Connell. Closest race thus far after the reconfiguration of the world standings. He's in the #1 position by just about $1,400. Steer wrestling, everybody knows him, Ty Erickson. He's got about a $3,300 lead. And in the team roping, a fantastic run for Clay Smith and Paul Eves. They are almost $9,000 ahead of anybody else. And in the tie down roping, it's Riley Smith. $3,400 is where we're at. Bull riding, you know, we haven't talked about the ERA having any bull riders yet, so we don't quite know what's going on with that. But right now, as it stands, until we can get things situated on that aspect, Trevor Kastner has a $7,500 lead, currently sitting in the #1 position. WPRA gives us the ladies barrel racing update, and Ivy Conrado is $10,500 ahead of everybody. But the all-around is one thing I want to touch on real quick. All-around is crazy right now, because we're used to seeing a whole list of people that are even scheduled for the all-around chase. And right now, after all the ERA contestants were taken out of it, there's only 2 that remain that are even qualified to be able to go in the all-around. It's Caleb Smith is sitting in #1 for the all-around, leading his only other fellow competitor by $3,600. So huge changes going within that. So it's going to be a great thing right there. So let's get into the NFR ground a little bit. NFR ground, it's a good time. There's been a lot of things that have happened on the NFR ground. And as of last year, in the 2015 Wrangler National Finals Rodeo, I'll tell you what, there's a lot of people that weren't happy. It was blasted all over social media. It was blasted everywhere, you know, that you could imagine. That both the fans and the contestants were not happy with how the ground was. People were concerned about the welfare of not only the rodeo contestants, but the equine and the bovine athletes as well. So there's a lot of concern about the NFR ground. So what happened was there was a committee meeting. The Wrangler National Finals Rodeo Committee had a meeting in San Antonio this last week, and it ended, and the WPRA president put out a posting. The interesting thing is Sean Davis went into that meeting and told the NFR committee that he's hired the best grounds person that he's ever known throughout his rodeo industry, and he's trusted him to make the needed ground improvements and do anything within their capabilities within you know, having the right moisture content, the right way to drag the arena, all that fun stuff. So you want to make sure that that everything is good, and be guaranteed within 2016 that ground is going to be the best it's ever been up to their capabilities. So we're really excited to see what's going to happen with that, and it's a huge storyline that we're going to follow. Now the ground has already been sampled and analyzed and recommendations given, so it's going to be interesting to see, like I said, what happens. On that note, you know, a lot of great things happening with the PRCA, but we wouldn't be able to bring you this week's update without our great friends that bring it to you each and every week. We could not do it without our good friends from Diamond D Art out of Dayton, Iowa. Check out all their hand-painted products, including the beautiful feathers that our entire team wears across the country as we travel the rodeo trail. So make sure you visit them, look them up on Facebook, Google search them. Our good friends from Diamond D Art of Dayton, Iowa, doing a fantastic job. Well, we're going to get in to, you know what? I was going to talk about something, and I was debating on it, but you saw the graphic pop up, so let's do it. Tremendous loss in the PRCA this week. Everybody knows Louis Field. He was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer back in October, right before his son Casey Field was set to come to the 2015 Wrangler National Finals Rodeo, and it was on everybody's mind, and everybody wants to know. But you know, anybody that knew Louis was he was a fighter, and unfortunately, 2 nights ago, about 11:30, he lost his battle with pancreatic cancer. So just to let you know that he's in our thoughts and our prayers and our minds, and we hope everything is great. But let's get on with business and just let everybody know, you know, what's going on. We don't need to harp on it. But let's go into the PBR. What a huge week it was in the PBR. The Bass Pro Shootout presented by Cooper Tires, 19th consecutive year inside the Scott Trade Arena. It was a history-making weekend in St. Louis, and it's something that you did not want to miss. I'll tell you what. When I say history-making weekend, it started off in the first round. Young gun, virtual unknown in the PBR Built Ford Tough Series was Nevada Newman. This kid, his first PBR Built Ford Tough Series appearance was this last weekend in St. Louis, and he started it off the best as you could ever start it off. In his very first round, his very first ride in his Built Ford Tough Series career, he covers for 88 and a quarter points, and he is your round 1 winner of the Bass Pro Shootout presented by Cooper. Only second competitor to ever do it in their first ever round. So he made history starting it right off. Right after that, this young man went to the championship round and covered a virtual uncoverable bull that everybody knows, Mississippi Hippie. He made it look easy, scoring 87 and 3/4 points. And along with his historic first weekend on the PBR, he was a virtual unknown coming up from the Blue Def Velocity Tour. And this kid secured his spot on the Built Ford Tough Series virtually for the rest of the year and making it to the PBR World Finals. I'm speaking too soon, but right now he's jumped all the way up to the 8th position in the entire overall world standings. So you can't beat that for Nevada Newman. What a great first event for that young man. We can't wait to see him in Kansas City next week. JB Mooney, everybody knows him, defending and reigning 2-time world champion. He is making a constant move to the top. He's been out with food poisoning. He's had numerous injuries. He's coming back, but it seems when he's hurting and he's not feeling the best, he does better than anybody else. This last weekend, he climbed up to the number 2 spot in the world, and he only sits 7.5 points behind Paulo Lima. So it's just virtually amazing what JB has done in the first part of the season. And something that a lot of people may not know is it's quite interesting that with the historic career JB Mooney has had, this kid has never won a 15-15 bucking battle in his entire career. That all changed in St. Louis as well, as another history moment was made, as JB, your reigning and defending PBR world champion, wins his first career ever 15-15 bucking battle with a 90 and a quarter ride aboard Sheep Creek. And it was a ride that set that arena on fire. It was awesome. But talk about setting on fire. We start with round 1, where there was almost a record 16 qualified rides. And you go into round 2 and 3 in the championship round, and it was virtual bovine domination. But there's one man that made everything click and knew exactly what was going on, and that would be none other than the Grand Coulee Washington Cowboy himself, Shane Proctor. Complete domination in St. Louis, and it's a fantastic month. You know, it's all started in Rapid City, South Dakota during the Black Hills Stock Show and Rodeo, and he had a fantastic run there. And he came back to tour after taking that time down in South Dakota. And this kid was the only rider to go 4 for 4 this past weekend and be the only rider to be perfect during the PBR Built Ford Tough Series and win his first event of the 2016 season. Shane Proctor is on a fantastic hot streak going into Kansas City this weekend, and then straight up next weekend as we make our way to Arlington, Texas, and AT&T Cowboy Stadium, he will do the same. And he's hitting in on a hot streak going into Kansas City in the Iron Cowboy events inside AT&T Stadium. So it'll be fantastic, and it'll be fun to watch this kid grow and shoot up the world standings within the 2016 season. One thing that we need to talk about with the PBRs, there is a lot of things happening and a lot of publicity given to the American bull riding athletes, but there's a lot of Brazilians that are doing anything they can to make sure that they, you know, they need to be known. And as you can see from this graphic, Paulo Lima, who's coming back from injury and missing years on the Built Ford Tough Series, is sitting in #1 spot. But if you look at the world rankings, 4 of the top 5 in the world standings are all Brazilians. These guys aren't getting enough credit. Some of them don't like to talk to media. Some of them don't like to be on camera. But it is important that we give them the respect that they are deserving, especially in 2016 season, as these guys are going on a crazy tear. And the 4 of them in the top 5 in the world standings, that's something to talk about. And that's something that we will continue to watch throughout the year as the Built Ford Tough Series continues on in 2016. So that moves us into what I talked about 2 weeks from now inside AT&T Cowboy Stadium. It's the RFD TV's The American and the Iron Cowboy. The Iron Cowboy is the second major of the 2016 season. And the entire Rodeo Roundup and Avid Visual Imagery Rodeo Photography team will be there. We're going to be leaving bright and early Wednesday morning because we have everything going on, starting with our live broadcast Thursday night all the way through the conclusion of the RFD TV American on Sunday. So we're going to have daily updates and daily video coverage with photo galleries and everything from our good friends from Avid Visual Imagery Rodeo Photography. So make sure you follow all of our broadcasts and all of our recaps live from AT&T Cowboy Stadium. So PBR is in the books for this week. We look forward to Kansas City, and we look forward as well to the Iron Cowboy. But we couldn't bring you this update without our great friend, Tom Kaufman, owner of Tactical Graphics. Visit him on Facebook for all of your graphic needs, the official graphics partner of the Rodeo Roundup. So a huge thank you goes out to Tom, another fellow veteran organization. So we thank you for your service as well. But that brings us into the main event that is happening next week. We go to the RFD TV's The American, and the official Rodeo Roundup coverage team will be loud and proud inside AT&T Cowboy Stadium in Arlington, Texas, each and every day to bring you the live round recaps, stats, pictures, and exclusive interviews. But, you know, the top 10 in the world in the PRCA standings and the PBR world standings, but that leaves everybody else trying to make their way in. And that all started February 10th inside the San Antonio Rose Palace as the gold buckle matches were started. Now, it was a fantastic day inside that Rose Palace, and there was head-to-head matches. There was round-robin team roping matches. But one thing that we need to talk about were all the qualifiers. In the steer wrestling, Lee Graves makes his way back to compete for $1 million. If Lee or anybody that was made and qualified from the gold buckle matches win, they split the $1 million. In the team roping qualifiers, now this is a story that we're going to touch on for a little bit. Jake Barnes and Rich Skelton. Jake Barnes is coming back, if everybody remembers, from a horrific injury. This kid, not even a kid, and he's old enough to be my dad, but hey, this guy was doing a training run and training exercises with his partners and Junior Noriega. And, you know, a freak accident happened down on his ranch, which kept him out of the 2015 Wrangler National Finals Rodeo. He was airlifted in critical condition with a traumatic brain injury. A horse fell and stepped on him. And it was very, very, very bad news. That nobody knew which way it was going to go, how he was going to come, how much rehab he was going to have to do. But it was just a tear-jerking moment to see Jake Barnes back inside that rodeo arena and actually beat all the other teams with his partner Rich Skelton to earn a chance at $1 million inside at AT&T Cowboy Stadium. Now, if you're watching him closely, you'll also see he's going to be wearing a new hat. It's a cowboy hat made by Resistol, but it's a protective hat. So it's something that we should probably look at more into, not even for ropers, but for the professional rodeo realm in general. So freak accident, New England wear hat, he's out for blood, and I bet he's going to be on a high coming into AT&T Cowboy Stadium. Your barrel racing qualifier for the WPRA is ex-world champion Lindsay Sears. Lindsay Sears makes her way back. But the matchup that everybody was talking about is a follow-up matchup and a rematch from the Cinch Shootout at the Orleans in this last December. It is Cody Ohl and Fred Whitfield. This was a two-head match. You know, they got drawn and they went head-to-head on a second calf fastest time qualified time wins after you add the two together. And in the end, it was Fred Whitfield that would make the triumphant return and go for $1 million. So you're going to see the one and only legendary Fred Whitfield start raising the roof inside that AT&T Cowboy Stadium and bring everybody to their feet. I can almost guarantee you that. The rest of the field are going to be semifinals happening now. They're happening as we speak in Fort Worth at the Cowtown Coliseum. Today was a bunch of slack, a bunch of runs, and a tie-down roping. Now, we talk about Cody Ohl that didn't win the gold buckle. I think a 7.6 run down earlier today if I was looking at the times, and he is sitting in very good position to be able to make his way back and also earn his spot into the American. So it'll be interesting to see if both those guys can get back. So once everything is done and everything is set after this weekend's last semifinals in the American, it will be the complete field is set for the 2016 richest one-day rodeo in Western sports history. That is the RFD TV's The American. So it's going to be huge. It's going to be a great time. And we are going to be 4 strong down in the media room, bringing you all the live coverage. We're going to be traveling throughout the week from all different parts of the country. Check out our exclusive GoPro updates. That's right, I said GoPro. From the Rodeo Roundup Road to the American feature that I'm going to be doing from all of our stops and sightseeings on the way down. So be sure to follow us at the rodeoroundup.com or on social media for live daily recaps and updates as we give you your daily Rodeo Roundup live shows direct from AT&T Cowboy Stadium in Arlington, Texas. It's going to be a fantastic time. All of our coverage starts Thursday afternoon as we have been invited by the PBR to attend the live weigh-in for Asteroid. So brand new Chad Berger Buck and Bull Dakota Rodeo, and Chad Berger, Asteroid's new owner. So we're going to be able to obtain some exclusive interviews down there, hopefully with Chad Berger, and some great video and photo clips of Asteroid getting weighed in on the arena floor with the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders and some very special Dallas Cowboys football players guests from what I understand. So that's going to be a fantastic day. Following Friday, we have the official press conference for both of the Iron Cowboy and the American, right inside AT&T Cowboy Stadium once again. So we will be streaming, and we will be getting you the audio direct from that press conference, and we will be sharing that with all of you as well. So, and then after Friday, you have got, let's get it, Saturday and Sunday, the main shows of what's going to go on. But, you know, if you come into Arlington and you're coming to the deals, make sure you get to the arena fast and early because they have got the Fan X going on this year. It's going to be right outside of Lot 4 at the AT&T Cowboy Stadium. They have got Flint Rasmussen's outside the barrel show. They've got musical acts. They've got a saloon, a bunch of great shopping and interactive interactive displays. And they will open up at 10 a.m., Sunday at 8 a.m. prior to the show, so you can get all of your shopping done and enjoy some great musical talent, and even of the Flint Rasmussen's Outside the Barrel show. So make sure you come early and visit over there. It is free to the public, but you may have to pay for parking, so just keep that in mind if you come. Parking is not cheap at AT&T Cowboy Stadium. So throughout the week, we're going to have the GoPro updates. We're going to have live direct shows, daily recaps, and special guests live from AT&T Cowboy Stadium. 4 straight days of coverage covering the Iron Cowboy and the American, once again starting next Thursday, continuing all the way through Sunday night next week. So we are a week away, not this weekend, but next weekend we will be there in Texas AT&T Cowboy Stadium. So a lot of things going on, a lot of great things, but we wouldn't be able to bring you the exclusive coverage that we do of the RFT TV's The American without our exclusive photography partner of the Rodeo Roundup, Avid Visual Imagery Rodeo Photography. So we say a huge thank you for them and look forward to joining forces one more time to bring you the exclusive coverage of the AT&T Cowboy Stadium events next weekend. But speaking of that, Rodeo Roundup live update for next week. We will not have a show next Wednesday since we're going to be traveling, but get ready because we're going to bring you the best and most interactive live coverage of all the happenings live from the Iron Cowboy and the American, starting again a week from Thursday. So just over a week, we will be live in Arlington, Texas. So check back starting Thursday evening to get your daily recap of all the action live from Arlington, Texas. It's going to be great as the Rodeo Roundup team is going to be traveling throughout the different cities all the way to Texas with our virtual GoPro camera, bringing you along with all the wild antics that we experience throughout our travels to and from Arlington, Texas. So it's going to be goodbye, but it's not so long until we see you in just over a week live from Arlington, Texas. My friends, this has been Jason Hetland with the Rodeo Roundup Live, presented by Tactical Graphics and Avid Visual Rodeo Imagery and our good friends from Diamond D